What is up, YouTube? McIntyre here. Today I wanted to bring you guys the first of a series that we'll see how long honestly it takes, but I'd like to have these videos coming out either daily or every other day. But this is the start of the A to Z marathon, and I'm doing all of these games with the subs on my stream. So if you are subscribed to my Twitch channel and you would like to be a part of this, then please swing by during my stream hours, which are typically at nighttime because of scrims, sometimes during the day. Anyways, basically I wanted to go through the entire cast of heroes and talk about each of the characters, go over their builds, and just kind of show the gameplay of each character from my perspective and my, I guess, abilities of playing each character. Today, the very first and one of the most unique is going to be Abathur. I will say, going into this replay, I don't know how well I can show my actual gameplay. This is one that I just didn't think too far in advance for, but this game was really, really good. So hopefully we can show off some of it. Essentially, the reason I say that is because with Abathur, I'm doing so much as far as putting mines on the ground and whatnot, having different targets and soaking different lanes. But you really get to see my body position, and I'll talk about a lot of my mine placement or where I'm trying to hat or how I'm trying to team fight, especially. The other nice thing about doing this with my subs is it allows me to kind of draft a comp that I think looks good with the pick that I'm going to play. So in this case, we have the Abathur comp on the right side, which is a pretty typical Abathur comp, honestly. Where we have, Arthas, which is a great hat target. Tyriel, also a really good hat target. Genji, great hat target. So all three of these characters are really good with the Abathur hat on their head, as well as, we have multiple good clone targets between Genji and Arthas, depending on the situation, right? If we need to fight over a boss pit, then it's probably better to pick the Arthas clone, so I can just sit there and absorb damage and cause chaos. Or if we want to, we have a clean engage, we want to get a pick quick, then Genji obviously is really, really powerful, especially in the later stages of the game when Genji gets D-Blade perma and the D-Shield goes out, and he can generate a lot of damage for me to get resets as a clone. So, but yeah, so that's another really nice part about doing this in Team League with my subscribers, is that I can kind of make a comp that makes sense for the character instead of just playing quick match and just pubbing a random comp with terrible synergies, and yeah, you don't really get to see the strength of the character. So we're going to jump into this again. I'm going to try my very best. I don't know if it's possible. And someone in the chat, you just tell me if it is. If it's possible to... Okay, so I can see my clicks. But is it possible to just follow the Abathur? That's something I really want to know. I think I've done it before. Maybe Z. No, Z zooms out. We'll just zoom out, but right at the beginning, I'm placing mines on rotations. So just places where I think they will be, right? So if they were to come from this area, they would run to go to the bottom lane. They would hit this mine. If they don't hit this mine, they'll run up. They'll hit this mine. They could potentially rotate here. The other one is, I think this is a really good spot. So if they were to come from here, maybe want to rotate in here. I place one here. You could also place it here, but I typically like to put mines right off the beginning on rotations to give my team a little more information. The other good one is in the middle brush, but in this case, I have a team to check that, but I could have put a mine there and we would have been able to see that stitches on that brush. Yeah, so just at the beginning, I had a minion. I just want to spine the enemy team. I took spine level 1, or spike. I hopefully won't say spine and spike too much. This is the spike talent. I say spine a lot for it, whatever reason, that's the cue. But I took the spike talent this game because I wanted to, have a stronger hat presence. So level 1 took the spike. You can see here, I'm just body soaking top. I placed a mine here and here. In case the Greymane were to rotate up, it would dismount him and it would allow me to get away. But I body soaked that, and then on that last minion wave there, you can see I had it to soak it. I really, don't need to be top on a map like Towers of Doom. Abba's much stronger in the middle lane, and so you'll see me rotate to that lane soon enough. But for now, I'm just hatting this Arthas to create pressure. Ended up hatting bottom wave as well. Ended up getting that was a weird little fight there. So we had the Abathur. He ends up dying as well. Yeah, I remember that fight. It was where Genji engaged. I believe the Abathur healed maybe the wrong target. Here I had the Arthas. We end up picking up the kill, and I'm in a very scary spot. Luckily, my team protected me there. And you can see, you know, when I feel safe, I re-hat to kind of get him poke. But I want to catch this bottom soak now. So it's important for me to either hat this building. Yeah, I choose to hat a minion. One thing with the Abathur that you always need to be doing is watching the side lanes. Like, if there's no one there to soak, you either need to get your body on the wave, because a lot of the time it's actually better, you know, if they push you in, because then you can Z to behind the towers and then soak the wave from behind the towers and you don't have to hat it. But if you don't have the time, or maybe Z's down, it's typically better just to hat it and pick it up super quick. Now you'll see here, you know, we're getting this top right, and we probably want to hat for bottom. I place a lot of mines again to give vision on these rotations. And I'm going to look to Z up top. So I see their whole team rotating bottom, which means, you know, I can Z up here safely without them contesting me, and I get this top soak. But now I can put a lot of emphasis on hatting for the team fight. Get a good kill on Greymane. I think we end up killing the Varian as well. Yep. And this whole time I'm getting soaked in the top lane, right? In this case too, a lot of the times I like to, you know, catch maybe mid soak. Yeah, nobody's soaking mid, or I could catch bottom soak, depending on where your team's positioned. Since I'm getting top for free, I can hat mid for that soak. Here I just full back to get healthy, and this Greymane actually sneaks by this mine. This was really scary, but I end up canceling that dig, thank God, because Greymane was standing right in that rush. So that would have been really bad. I put that mine there to kind of, you know, stop that rotation from happening, and he ended up sneaking right by it. So that was a bad mine placement. But here you can see now, since I cancel my Z, I'm just walking mid. Again, soaking behind the wall is really good. And now I'll probably look to either hat bottom, or I can, you know, hat the Arthas top. A lot of the times when I hat something, I'll hat for 2 seconds. I'll spike twice, and then I'll unhat. And you can see that happening here too. You know, it'll be really quick just to try to get the wave pushed. Yeah. The longer you're on a target, so essentially, because the way that it works is, like, let's say for the shield. So this is just some basic ABBA knowledge for players that are new to the character. His shield is a 12-second cooldown. Okay. His spike is a 6-second cooldown, and his Qs are a 3-second cooldown. So typically you can get them both off, and then you'll have a third one if you wait a second, right? Or I think 2. But the reason that I'm hatting, like here, I'll hat, I used all the cooldowns, right? You can see my hat here. I'll immediately cancel that hat. All right. And now the reason for that is my Q talent actually just goes on cooldown for 4 seconds when you cancel it, which means that 12 seconds that you cooled down off of your, you know, E, for example. So we're digging down here too, because they're pushing in. Again, I can get the soak on the wave. So yeah, so you can see now when I re-queue up on something, I have all my cooldowns again. So I will immediately use all of them, and like you can hear this, like I quite literally just hit all the buttons on my keyboard. Because I want to use them all as quick as possible so that I can take my hat off. See, in this case, I wait for that third, because I see the stitches, I wait for that third stab, and I'm going to wait for a new spike too. The other reason I don't take the hat off here is that at level 4, I took Adrenal Overload, which gives attack speed on the hatted target. So I figured I'd just give Skull that attack speed to try to put down the stitches. Which you can see here, you know, using the attack speed and just Genji. He does Genji things. Yeah. So in that case, not taking the hat off and doing what I was just talking about is probably better, because, you know, you're waiting, I think, like, you know, 6 seconds essentially to reshield, and you're only going to lose 2 seconds of that, and you might get a couple extra spikes off or stabs, right? So there's just no reason to come off, plus you're getting the attack speed. And in this game, I end up actually going Needle Spine. I honestly wouldn't recommend this. I'm a pretty big advocate of Mule, especially on a map like this, because if you take something like top lane, for example, you could just continue to mule it back, and it's very hard and awkward for the enemy team to go up and retake it without sending like one person. And at that point, if they're sending one person to try to take top, then between the hat and the mule, you can defend it by yourself. But in this game, I took stab just to, this is, I would call the power build. This is super hat committed. Essentially, when I hat, you know, let's say Genji, I'm going to be able to apply even more damage with the stab. So we can look to get kills better, right? From just me and target, let's say Arthas plus me, could kill this Gray Man really easy with this build. So I kind of opted to go into a power build instead of more of a defensive build with a mule. But yeah, so my team's down here soaking bot, so I'm probably hatting mid. Yeah. Want to, again, hat the waves that you're not in. You want to catch that XP if you can. You can see here now this objective's about to spawn, so I probably want to start looking to Z up top and have Arthas rotate down. Because at this point, where my body's at is not really soaking, right? So I had the Tyrael. I see him starting to scrap. So I'm a hat Tyrael. I think this is where I yell at the Arthas to rotate. So as a player who's not Abba, if you have an Abathur on your team, doing this right here, what Arthas is doing, is unnecessary. Because this is Abathur's job to soak waves like this, right? You need to be present in a team fight because you're already a body down, right? And a lot of the time you want to be there before the other person. Like in this case, if we hit E, we can see the enemy Greymane is still pushing out top, which is good. That's a good thing for us, because that means if he's wasting his time top lane and Arthas had rotated and just let him push in, then our Abathur body soaks the wave, and then Arthas should be present in this team fight right now, which for us would be a 4v5, right? If I had it would be a 4v5, which is perfect. That's the perfect engage and scenario we want as the Abathur comp, especially pre-10 before we have clone, right? So until we have clone, getting 4v5s with Abba comp a lot of the time is what you want. That's where you can find your XP leads. And that's why a lot of the time when you see Arthas comps, you see kill comps. You see a strong 4-man that can kill people quick, while the Abathur kind of soaks up the other lanes, right? Because that 4-man can rotate wherever they want on the map, and Abba can also just soak up everywhere that's not being defended. So you'll see here too, yeah, I'm going to tell Arthas to rotate. And I've dug top, right? So now I'm hatting bot to contribute. And I'm also getting all this XP at the same time. Genji gets a good reset. I think at this point we're just kind of weak. We took a lot of damage. But I'm pretty sure we still win this. Or at least we should. Again, I have the hat on the Genji. This just makes his auto attacks much stronger. Also gives me, you know, the ability to spike if he wants to go in for a reset. Yep, so they end up giving that, and now I'm going to dig bottom because I want to body soak catch this, and I'm rehatting top, right? Because my body being out there top lane to soak is unsafe, whereas down here, you know, I have the information, it's safe. I also probably will mine somewhere in here. I usually mine these places that people might sneak to try to kill you, right? So this place here. If they know I'm here, they might try to sneak in, and if I can knock them off mount and get vision, then a lot of times I can just run behind a wall. Alright, so at level 10, we take clone, obviously, ultimate Evo. Really, really powerful, just creating a clone of a hero that is stronger and moves faster. A lot of the times, you know, you can win a team fight really quickly if you do it correctly. So here the Stitch is a little opposition. I probably hat for this. Never mind, judgment happens. Hat unneeded. So probably hatting mid or top at this point, if I had to guess. go back to this so I can see when I'm using stuff. Yeah. So Li Ming is doing a really good thing to stop the Aba. So one way to stop Aba from soaking efficiently is you just don't push the wave at all. And more or less, whenever I had to try to soak, because with Abathur, you don't get the experience unless your Q is on a minion when an enemy minion dies around you, right? So if you're playing against an Abathur, a good way to stop him from hat soaking is essentially don't touch the minion wave and wait until he hats a minion, and then when he hats that minion, you kill it as fast as possible, right? Because then it'll be much harder for him to continue. He has to continue to hat to try to soak, which a lot of the time is inefficient because he can't hat his teammates. And B, you know, a lot of the XP he'll just be missing, even, you know, if he's fully focused hat soaking your wave. So that's a good little counterplay there. What Li Ming's doing is by not pushing. However, my Arthas comes up, you know, start soaking it, so. But this hat right here is getting a lot of value bought. So now we have the 2 tribs spawning. You know, I want to get in position to soak this wave. I see the Li Ming, so I'm not too afraid of that. And this is probably where I'm going to clone early. A lot of times with Aba players, I see this happen a lot. They clone really late into the fight. Like the fight, you're almost losing the fight, and then they're like, oh, I guess I should clone now, right? So as Abathur, a lot of the time, you really want to clone early so that you can get your clone damage out or whatever, right? You can do as much as you can with the clone. Maybe you don't even get a full duration. Maybe they kill the clone, right? That means they use cooldowns. They attacked a clone, a target that is non-existent, right? And the reason for that being important is that you've now created space for maybe your real people on your team to deal damage. And then when you die, you just immediately put your hat onto somebody, and now you're still there, right? So I see that happen a lot with Aba players, especially. They do not clone early, and you'll see here, you know, considering we're fighting over double objective, I want to clone early. I usually like to clone out of fog too. So I usually like to clone when the enemy team can't see me. Here, they've gorged our Arthas. So, but you can see now I'm playing with my Genji, and we're just trying to create some pressure. Oh, I missed my Q there. Dang. Yeah, but a lot of damage put out, enough to the point that we get both of the shrines. So that's worth. If I was a better player, I would have maybe killed a Great Man with my E. So I probably want to look to hat this. I see my team fighting. I was just hatting to soak though, probably bottom lane. Yeah, but now that I see a fight's happening, I move my hat immediately in. And again, this is one of those cases where I use my cooldowns, and then I'm either thinking, do I want to re-hat this or hat a side lane? And in this case, I'm getting soaked. I've given up on the fight, even though my team's still fighting, because I want to get double soak, right? Not only do I want to get double soak here, but the main importance of why I'm so aggressive about this bottom lane is that while I'm also getting XP, this tower and this tower are about to eat up all these minions. So the enemy team's losing all of this, which is like a quarter of an XP bar right now. So you can see now, not only did I get all that experience, but they just lost all of that experience. And the same goes for the top wave, right? So a lot of people think that Abathur, you know, in this new patch especially, so in case you didn't know, on the newest patch that will be coming out really soon, we're going to see towers no longer have ammunition, which some people would say is a nerf to Abathur, because a lot of the time with Aba, you use your Locust to eat up the ammunition, and then, you know, you get free siege. But it's actually kind of a buff at the same time, because if Abathur ever pushes a lane to a point where, you know, right now the ammunition's out, then the tower no longer eats up minions. So the other team doesn't have to soak the lane. They can show up late, and then they can catch all the XP. But now, with the ammunition being permanent, forever, when Aba pushes in lanes like this one, for example, and all this these minions get eaten up and the ammunition no longer exists, the other team loses XP. So, you know, right now they lost all of top XP. Okay, so Greymane shows up, so he catches a bit, but they lost all the bottom XP, right? And next patch that will not be able to happen. So here you can see now, you know, I feel kind of safe. I see a lot of their enemy team mid, so I'm gonna put up some mines, you know, protect myself. And now I can body soak this while I probably hat soak top. Yep. Honestly, at 16, I was gonna go a full split build. So that's why I ended up going Bombard Stain, because on this map, I feel like the Bombard Stain with Locust Brood at 16 so powerful in the top wave, because you can just keep pushing it constantly, especially when the objectives are like middle or bot. I think I end up going into like I actually end up going into Volatile Mutation, which is really good when you have this bomb clone. And like a bomb clone is essentially like a clone that, again, when I was talking about before, I clone early, I send it in, I do as much as I can, and then I blow up, and then I start hatting people. This does really well with that sort of idea, right? Because not only does your clone blow up and deal extra damage, but he's also got a burning rage around him the entire time that's doing a pretty significant amount of damage. So you get the damage from just the AoE dot when you're alive as a clone, and especially with like an Arthas clone. Like imagine an Arthas clone, right? Like you guys are gonna be like, wow, that actually sounds really overpowered. I can't believe I've never thought of that, right? Arthas, huge health pool, sticky. He's got his slow E that also is doing damage, right? Now imagine if that slow E also had a burning rage on top of it that was doing 237 damage every 3 seconds, right? And I think the clone lasts 20 seconds, right? Yeah, 20 seconds. So we're just burning for like 6-7 ticks plus the death tick. A lot of times when you're an Arthas clone, especially, you're on top of them, so you get that death tick. That's over 2,000 damage just in a AoE that burns around you. So I end up going this talent, and because of that, I probably didn't need to go Bombard Strain. I could have probably gone Spatial or Soma, but who knows? But you guys will see that here in a little bit. Tiro gets picked. Not the end of the world. This was a little Monka S. I had to give him the spray. Show some love. Let him know that I was just there. And he did just miss me. Luckily, though, because the enemy team tried to kill me there, we actually get an engage while they're rotating. And because I had mines placed, I actually, you know, I get the visual on that Stitches, who is also dismounted. We get a decent engage here. Clone comes out. I make a Genji clone. See here, like, as a clone, like, look at the value. Like, I have a real Genji beside of me, and I have a clone Genji. And as clone Genji, I just got taunted, and they're all punching me, right? And because of that, look at my real Genji is sitting there getting all sorts of value, right? I die, who cares? I still have real Genji up. I hat him now, and we're still fighting, right? So it's really, you know, that's kind of the way you want to be using the clone. And a lot of the times I don't see that. If you want to use the clone to more or less, you know, get in there and fight as quick as possible, die, and then start hatting. Arthas talking about getting gorged. Not really anything we can do about that, dude. Getting hook gorged behind walls just happens. Now I'm down here trying to body soak this bottom wave. We don't have enough information for me to be stepping out yet, so I just got a hat on the wave, which is good. I'll probably look to soak this out, and I'm gonna look to mine in here. Yeah, you can see I'm trying to mine. I want to have reads on these rotations, so probably hat comes out here now, or I'm gonna dig. No, I'm digging top. Okay, because their whole team is bottom, I like this dig top. Could have dug mid, but Uther's already catching it, and I probably hat for it now. Yeah, basically, because we got this bottom keep, I'm headed top because now the enemy team obviously has to focus hard on getting that bottom keep back. So this kind of allows me to get a lot of free pressure up top, and this is where the split build typically would come into play. Okay, so I do actually end up going Locust Brood. So I full commit to the Brood build here. I wasn't sure if I did or not, because looking back on it, Mutation could have been really powerful here. But we also can see the strength and the significance of the Brood drop, and just why it's so powerful on the map. The other thing is on this map in particular, because the lanes are so short, you don't have to take the level 1 talent to get value out of these Locusts. They're just, you can spawn them up here kind of, right, and just send them into suicide. which is also pretty nice. But yeah, so during all of this, my team is fighting bot, which is good. Right, we have a 4v5 going on essentially. But I'm getting waves top. I'm also soaking mid. You know, I'm getting a lot done. Here I just cloned to, I don't know, save my team. We end up getting, we end up doing the Lucio things. I mean, the Genji things to the Lucio. Skull makes an insane play. But it's not too bad. Here, I actually make a pretty courageous play as well. I put these mines up super quick because if the Stitches is rotating around, he'll hit that mine before he can hit a hook on me. So even if I don't time it correctly, right? He'll hit that mine, which will give me enough information to at least move out of the way. I don't need to mine mid because I already have minions there, so I'll know if they're coming around. So I know the spacing, I know the timing, I know when I need to start moving, right? Essentially. And then I also kind of protect my own neck with this brute spawn. So the brute spawn here is to essentially create more or less turrets that will dismount. So I can start moving now, right? And you can see, here's my little turrets. This little guy right here actually saves me. Because he bent back around on the corner, he gave me the vision of the Stitches. And so I just get their entire team's ankles. And you can see here, I mean, I'm in a terribly scary spot, but I don't panic. I don't freak out. I think about what I need to be doing and where I need to be moving. And I'm able to make a play like this. Looks super clean. I steal their shrine and I live even. So now we can fight for top right. We're talent up. Lucio's dead. Yeah, these are plays that you can make with Abathur if you're calculated and you're smart about them. In this case, I protected my neck on the left rotation. I had vision of the middle. I created the brutes to create space for me. I played off of the vision that I had, and you know, I executed essentially. So during this kind of fight, I probably want to be hatting. Yeah, and in this case, I don't have the Genji to hat, so the Artist hat is really good. Gotta watch out for the Gorge. He went for the hook. Could probably put my body bottom now. Yep. So, as you can see, put our body bottom. If we get these minions in, again, they lose this experience. We see Greymane coming down here. It's a good rotation hold by Council. So I should be kind of scared, right? Like, I don't need to be like. So they lose all this minions right here. This is really nice. I'm hatting in this team fight. I clone, and now here we go. We got double Genjis again. End up killing the Greymane on the back end. And now we got the D-Blade come out. So when he D-Blades, I can get a lot of resets, especially as a clone Genji. End up picking up 3 kills as clone there, more or less. And then I hat Arthas. We get that kill, and then we probably went a little too ham, but not the end of the world. 4 for 1, 4 for 2. Now I'm immediately putting my body up top. I see Li Ming bot. She's soaking bot out, and I'm trying to actually get the pumpkins in. And in beautiful Abathur fashion, with one shot on the scoreboard, we clean up the Li Ming. And we send it. And that is going to be the gameplay for Abathur for my A to Z gameplay marathon. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any further questions about Abathur, please, in the comments below, you already know the MVP boys. In the comments below, please, 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 I'll share the numbers as well. Siege and XP contribution. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, if you have anything about, if you have any questions about the builds or whatnot, if you have your own build, if there was a concept that you didn't understand, let me know. I want to do this again. I'm going to try to get these up every other day. I can do every day, possibly. We'll see how much success. If you want to see them every day, make sure to hit that like button so I know that you guys are enjoying the videos and you want to see more of them. Otherwise, check out my Heroes Hearth profile, which I'll link in the description, as well as my Twitch and Twitter. If you want to get in these games, come on to my Twitch, subscribe, come hang out. I'm sure a lot of you that are watching these videos are already subscribed anyways to my YouTube or my Twitch channel. you can get in, show your mom that you're on a video, whatever the case might be. But again, appreciate it so much, guys. And until the next time, I'll see you then. Cheers.